Hello and welcome. In today's exciting episode, well, this week I remade my Barbie jacket. Last week I made the fabric flower jacket and I had to pull apart the Barbie jacket. This is the original Barbie jacket that I made a couple of years ago. And I don't know, it's just kind of messy and there was a line of flowers and it just didn't look organic enough. So I carefully pulled everything apart and used the glass seed beads, the sort of ones in rows hanging down on my floral jacket. And then I used all the other beads, well, almost all the other beads, on this one.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
As I said, the last episode that you saw was me making this fabric flower jacket, and it's got all these different flowers in it. And then I used, as you can see, I'm just madly shaking the jacket so I can show you the little beads. And I had them hanging down. I was like, okay, I've used two of my red jackets. I've got two left because I made, at this point, I'd already made the strawberry one. And then I used one of these ones to make the fabric flower jacket. Then I was like, okay, I've got two left. What shall I do with them? And then, of course, I had all the beads from that I'd taken apart the Barbie jacket. So this is me starting the floral jacket, Barbie 2.0. And one of the types of flowers, there was just this big bag of them. All the other types, I just had like a handful of this, 5 of this, 7 of this. But this particular bead here, flower-shaped bead, I just had so many. So I was like, okay, I'll do the base layer of the flower jacket with this. So, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do on the back. With these, because I ended up making 4 of these faux leather jackets in red. And I really want at least one of them to have, you know how I do the design feature on the back. I want at least one of them to be a negative space, and I thought this might be it, but the further I got along, spoiler alert, I was like, no. So yeah, I go through 3 different versions of what the design feature on the back will be. But anyway, so I start doing this and I really like it. So one of the things that I didn't like about, this is me recapping. So this is the floral jacket that I made in last week's episode. And on the back of that one, there's a grass design feature on the back, which I really love. It really suits because that one is so relentlessly pink and red. Not that this one isn't, but I don't know, just because it's so textural and 3-dimensional, I felt like the grass was a really good design feature for the back of this one. And it's flowers and it's just got this little bit. So anyway, and on the bottom of the floral jacket, I put these sort of strings of big heavy beads at the bottom, but it was too heavy, but also it kind of just looked wrong. So I ended up taking them off and putting on the small beads, these bougainvillea flowers, and they were hung on a string of small beads. And I was like, where can I get the small beads from? And I'd already used them in the Barbie jacket. So that is why I pulled apart the Barbie jacket. I mean, I love the Barbie jacket, but it was just... when I made it, it was just amazing. It was so much fun to make. And this is me showing you how. So see the little rows of beads that the bougainvillea and the giant sequins are hanging down on? Those little glass beads are the ones I pulled apart. I'll show you in a sec. These ones here. So it's all different hot pinks and reds and magentas. And they're originally on the Barbie jacket. And I love this jacket. I made it a couple of years ago and it was just so much fun to make. But as you can see, it's not perfect. Like there's too many glass beads at the top, and the sleeves, there's not really enough. Like when you're beading a jacket, if it has long sleeves, oh my goodness, it is so difficult to do because how you have to put beads on the inside of the sleeves and along the torso where the arm will rub. But you don't want to put too many because, you don't want it to age badly. And also, like, this is before I did design features on the back of the jacket, and I never liked these big daisies. I didn't end up using them in the Barbie 2.0 jacket. So yeah, there's just a couple of different things. And because I use so many of those little glass seed beads, it was so heavy. It was just unbelievably heavy, this jacket. I've already pulled it apart. This is the last longing look at it before I carefully pull it apart. So then I got out my thread cutters and I just carefully pulled it apart. I was watching something, or maybe I was listening to podcast anyway, and I was just sat there carefully with the blanket over my knees, carefully like cutting, pulling apart. As you can see, there's still some thread to pull out from this. I might reuse this jacket. I really like the fabric. It was so difficult to work on, but there's something about this fabric. It's so fabulous. It's like 1970s glam rock or something. I absolutely love it, and you cannot get it in this color anymore. So I think I've kept the jacket, and I've got magenta sequins, red metallic sequins, and there's a third color, magenta, red, and hot pink, like a candy sort of hot pink in plastic sequins. So I might just sort of do sequins over the whole thing with that jacket, and sort of so you'll be able to see some of the metallic magenta colour, but it'll be covered in sequins. I think maybe I'll do that on that jacket. Anyway, so this is the Barbie jacket, deconstructed again. All of these different bags are all different types of flower beads. And then, of course, there's the big bag on the end that's all these seed beads. And I did end up using, a handful or so in the floral jacket, the fabric floral jacket that I did last week, but I still had all these ones. So this is me after I've made the jacket, like right at the end of the video. As I said, these seed beads, this gigantic bag of seed beads, that was kind of what caused the most weight on the jacket. Like, the weight was evenly distributed, and it wasn't bad from a technical point of view, but it was just, I don't know, I just know that I would wear it more if it was less heavy. And this is me showing you the back of the jacket that I'm just about to show you how I made it. It's got those big pink magenta beads that I couldn't use on the last jacket. I ended up using them in this one, and they kind of look like seed pods in the context that I'm using them now, which is really cool. And this is me once again showing you the massive bag of seed beads. It's all different, like, I didn't buy them like that. They're all different bags of all different coloured beads. Like, there's transparent red, transparent magenta, opaque magenta, all these different ones. So I've still got to use them on something else. But anyway, so all these bags of little flower beads are the ones that I'm just about to use on this jacket. Actually, this little bag here of small flowers, I end up keeping, and I'm going to use them on my cottage garden jacket. But pretty much and the big sort of 1960s looking daisies ones, I'm saving them because I think I'll use them on a different jacket. But pretty much everything else I used in this jacket. I will show you them at some point, but yeah, this is me sort of showing you the inside of the jacket, so it's nice and clean. Some of you always ask to see the inside of the jacket, assuming that it's going to be really messy, but my jackets aren't. The cleaner the inside of your jacket is, the better it ages, so you shouldn't twist your threads or do anything like that. As a child, I started sewing by just doing embroidery and hand stitching toys for myself and things like that. So I'd say that hand stitching is probably my what I'm best at. So this is me showing you that I'm almost finished the first layer, the base layer. So what you do is, well, what I do when I make jackets out of floral beads. So I made the Barbie one and the original Barbie jacket, and then I made the grey one in December last year, and I have finished it in January, and now I'm remaking the Barbie one. So what is easiest to do is lay down a base layer of flowers all over the jacket, and then do a second layer, like a canopy layer over the top of all different sorts of flowers. This is me laying down the boring layer, the first layer, and then once I've done that, then I get to use all the pretty flowers. Oh, and yeah, I'm kind of over pink and red now that I've done 2 in a row of pink and red. So I think my next one will be that beautiful emerald green. But anyway, so I finished the first layer, the boring layer, and then I started on the exciting canopy layer. So here I am, you get to cherry pick it's easier if you sort of do the big ones first and then sort of block in some other sections of where you're going to have which sort of flowers. So I wanted this one to be much more organic than the original Barbie jacket. And I don't know, I kind of liked the shininess of the glass beads, the tiny glass beads that I used to attach each of the flowers on the original Barbie jacket, but it was so heavy. But also, I don't know, I felt like the shininess of the glass beads distracted from the flowers a little bit. This is me showing you the back again. So you sort of have to be really systematic about it, because you can't have too much of a trail between each flower. So it's looking very patchy at this point, but that's kind of what you have to do. You have to put layers and layers and layers of flowers. And also, because I'm using faux leather, I kind of wanted you to be able to see the faux leather underneath, because that's another one of the things that I sort of regretted about the original Barbie jacket. It was this amazing metallic magenta fabric, but you could hardly see the magenta fabric. So I wanted definite patches in this one where you could see even though this red fabric isn't half as cool as that glam rock magenta metallic fabric. And my idea for the design feature on the back had originally been for a negative space, so just a big triangle section on the back left blank. That's what I was going to do. This bit of grass is left over from when I started doing the white fabric jacket, but then I had to pull it apart. So I just had this left and it's exact triangle shape. So I was like, okay, I'll pin this into place, even though it's leather. And you should never pin anything into leather because it leaves pin marks. But anyway, I guess it's my version of being lazy. Instead of if you don't pin something there, then you have to literally measure it out, and that was easier. So I left that there for the start, and I was like, actually, I kind of like it, but I don't know. It would have been too similar to the fabric flower jacket that I just did. Also, I don't like the stark contrast of the grass in this one. So yeah, I end up taking it off and doing something else. So this is a better look at all the beads that I've been using. I still have a lot on the right side at the top there. You can see that I still have an awful lot of that base bead. It's sort of a magenta bead, and so these are the base beads that I had. And yeah, it was enough to do the whole jacket. I did like it when this is me just showing you each individual type of bead. One bead I had literally one, and most of them I had 50 beads or 20 beads or 7 beads. So you sort of have to pick what you're going to use and where you're going to use it. If you're just going to do a little feature so it looks like a little brooch on the front of your jacket, or you've got enough to do a sprinkling on both arms. And yeah, so I wasn't sure about these lighter sort of pinky magenta ones, but I put a red bead in the middle of them, and I really like them. So they're all sort of different, but as you can see, I've used plastic beads on them. This is me showing you the inside again. So it's just layer upon layer of lots of thin layers of adding beads over the top. You can't add them, you can't go from center, front, right round the entire jacket, just adding all the beads all at once. You have to do it in layers. I get a lot of people complaining that I don't, spend 10,000 per episode getting it really well produced and having multiple cameras and showing you every detail. And if you have a spare $10,000, there are people literally starving to death in this world. Give it to them. But also, I have a separate beading tutorial where I show you exactly how to do each type of beading. If you're too distracted and too impatient to seek out a beading tutorial that's really easy to find and watch that, then I'm not sure you have the patience to do a beaded jacket. So I guess that's why I do it. And also, I've already done a beading tutorial. It's over an hour long. There's 11 different types of beading in there. They're done in grading, so that I go from the easiest type of beading to the most complex. So if you work your way through all those different types of beadings, you'll be able to do the last type of beading by the time that you get to that in the tutorial. So I put a lot of thought into it, and if you want to watch it, you can. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. At this point, I'd done a fair covering of, so I've done the original base layer, and I've done a smattering of the canopy layer, and especially the back was really hard to work around this bit of grass that was just pinned on. So I was like, okay, I've done the sort of the second layer is done, and then after that, you get to do the really fun stuff where you hang stuff down. I was like, okay, we've got to work on the design feature on the back. So I carefully took off the grass bit, which was marking out where the design feature would be. And because it's faux leather, it sort of creases really easily and just sits wrong. And yeah, so I didn't like it. So I was like, okay, we're not leaving this as a negative space. And the thing about this jacket is, compared to the original Barbie jacket, as I keep saying, it had these tiny little glass seed beads in it. And they're so shiny. Like, glass is shiny because it's glass. Whereas these ones are each flower-shaped bead is anchored with a plastic bead. So even though I did use some shiny plastic beads, it's the overall look is of matte, not shiny. So yeah, I decided to do a play on light design feature on the back, and I've used shiny large sequins, shiny red flowers, and shiny red beads. So I don't know, I feel like I'm looking at the footage here, and I just feel like it doesn't translate half as well in the footage or the photos, but in real life I think it looks good. And what I don't like about this jacket is the sleeves. If I could change the sleeves, I would. Actually, I do have a bit of spare fabric. I was going to make a matching handbag, but I could take out these sleeves and redo them if I hate them that much. It just makes it seem like the shoulders are rounded. And because my shoulders are so tiny, 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 I don't know. I prefer a jacket with a perfect shoulder. But I don't know. I ended up leaving it the way that they are, and I hang some beads down. This is me starting to do the hanging down beads. The strings of hanging down beads are the most complicated part, but they're also the most fun. So as you can see on the sleeves, I'm starting to hang them down, and on the back, as I said, I use those big beads, magenta transparent beads, and they end up sort of looking like seed pods. I didn't intend to use every single one on the back and none on the front, but I got a bit carried away with the back, and the weight is good, so I sort of left it the way that it was. And yeah, you can sort of see that the design feature on the back, the red triangle, is like shiny and everything else is more matte. You can sort of see it when in this bit of footage, but generally speaking, I don't know. The footage is disappointing to me compared to the real jacket. It's just, when you're working on something, you're like, oh, this is turning out so much better than I thought it would. You get really, really excited and really invested. And then when I come to do the editing, like, it's basically, there's lots of technical stuff on most of the screen, and then you see this little picture. So I'm always a little bit disappointed also where I sit when I'm editing. I can usually see the actual finished product as well. So I look over my screen, I see the real beautiful thing, and I'm like, oh, you're so much better in real life. You're so much better in real life. Anyway, this is me comparing the two. And there are just a lot of technical things that are like that line of those light pink flowers really used to annoy me, because when I stitch them on, they're all in groups. But because there were glass beads there, it sort of pushed them and they always sat wrongly, and it always annoyed me. And I was like, oh, I have to take those out and redo them. And yeah, this is me just comparing the two jackets. And as I said, the sleeves, when you have long sleeves on a jacket and you're completely beading them, it's just so difficult to do, and it's so difficult to make them look good. I think the cactus flower jacket is my most successful jacket in beading, all over beading a jacket, because it's just, yeah, but it was just so difficult to do. And that's why I'm mostly making short sleeve jackets at the moment, because technically you get to do all the beading without having to worry about sleeves. Plus, I have like over 100 long sleeve jackets, and I need some short sleeve jackets to round out the collection. So I think of my jackets more of wearable art, so they're artworks, and I just like thinking of how you would group them if you had an exhibition of them, and which groups of jackets would go in which rooms. So this is me doing more hanging down beads on the sleeves, and I think I like the idea of using different types of beads on different sleeves, but I think I'll go back and add more of the big red trumpet-shaped flowers on the left arm, which looks like the right arm, because, yeah, they're so different. But this is me showing you that I added more on the sort of front of the sleeves. So, yeah, it's just about doing layers upon layers upon layers of beads. And I really like the stringy beads. So some of them are sort of magenta-y pink, matte coloured plastic beads. And some of the beads are sort of bicone or diamond shaped transparent transparent plastic beads in red and hot pink. So there's a mix in there, but they're all much lighter weight-wise than the glass beads that I used in the original Barbie jacket. So that's it for this video. I feel like I just did so much work on this week, but I don't know. I'm not sure it translates terribly well, but there you go. I remade the Barbie jacket. It is Barbie 2.0, and I love that I have two magenta floral jackets, or hot pink, and red floral jackets. One is beads, so it's really hard and plastic, and then the other one is soft and fabric. I just love the textural differences between the two, and visually as well, but they're just so rich and dense, and I love it. I love them both, but yes, I'm just so completely ready to work on something green or something multicolored. Actually, I think the next video will be a style video on style and aging. So if you've got any other style videos that you want me to make, I know people want to talk about having your colours done and capture wardrobes, and so I've planned a couple of style videos for the next few months, which is cool. I love talking about style. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you've been inspired to make yourself a floral jacket. They're rather fabulous. Happy sewing!